Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to RAMP Promotions, the Real Deal podcast show. We say, pray when you're going out, pray when you're coming in, and always remember, God is in control. Oh, yeah, it's a beautiful thing. Let's take the volume down up there. All right, here we go. What a show we got lined up for you, ladies and gentlemen. It's a beautiful thing. I'm going to say greetings to all my viewers around the world. God bless you all, and we hope you're all okay. Always do remember to donate to RAMP Promotions, the Real Deal podcast show. Whatever you can, just donate. You'll see the links down below. Whichever way you want to do it. It's up to you. We're coming free to you. So you can donate a cup of coffee. You know what I mean? Goodness gracious me. It takes a lot to bring the show to you. So a cup of coffee will be great. All right? Yes, ladies and gentlemen, and I keep beating this drum that there's a warning for those who are in Jamaica or going to Jamaica or passing through Jamaica. There's a warning. A big one too. And I'm going to put that warning on my screen. It is a big, big deal. There's a new law regarding guns in Jamaica. Ladies and gentlemen, take it seriously. There's a new law regarding guns, and I'm going to bring that to the stage right now. So just like, share, subscribe, comment, and click the notification bell. Pass this on to other people who may not know. But I keep beating the drum because it's extremely serious and important. So I would never like for any of you to get caught up in this mess. You get what I'm saying? It's a big, big mess if you get caught up in there. So this new gun law is serious. Here we go.
Firearm is 15 years. And if you choose to resist and vehemently explain why you're in possession of this firearm, imitation firearm, and the police think that you are resisting, the minimum is 20 years. A see-through water gun.
Oh, even a see-through water gun?
Is an imitation firearm.
Okay.
Imagine being sent to prison for 15 years over a water gun. Sounds crazy, right? But that's the reality under Jamaica's updated Firearms, Prohibition, Restriction, and Regulation Act. The law now states that anything resembling a firearm, even a toy, prop, or water gun, can be treated as a prohibited weapon. And if you're found guilty, the punishment is a mandatory minimum of 15 years in prison, no exceptions. Critics say this new rule goes way too far, blurring the line between actual criminals and innocent people caught up in harmless fun. Imagine a child's birthday party or a school play where a fake firearm is used. Under this law, that could technically lead to jail time. Lawyers and human rights advocates are calling for urgent reform, saying judges should at least have the power to use discretion instead of handing out automatic sentences. What do you think? Is this law a necessary step to curb gun violence? Or is it punishing the...
I tell you, ladies and gentlemen, it's serious. That's serious business right there. And you got to pass this on, like, share, subscribe, comment, click the notification bell. It's extremely important that you tell those who do not know, especially those who are heading to Jamaica for Christmas, or during the Thanksgiving period, and those who have birthday parties for young ones and they want to, it's a tropical country, so you may want to have a water party and you need to take those water guns. Please don't. You know what I mean? This is serious business. So share it with a loved one, a friend, or just share this podcast. Just share it out there and let others know what's going on, because it's extremely serious. This is PIP Mondays, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to NARAM Promotions PIP Mondays. This is where we prioritize, inform, and promote. Goodness gracious me. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So, also, it is still hurricane season. It is still hurricane season, and we got some warnings and preparations, to prep you. It's time to look around you and prepare yourself because there's a possibility something is going to happen. But let's bring the weatherman in, the meteorologist, to tell you what's going on because it seems something is brewing up in the Caribbean. And I don't know if you know, but I want you to be aware so that you can share this with your loved ones. Prepare yourself if there's for any eventualities. So therefore, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's bring the meteorologist up here and get him going. So here we go.
It is Monday, October 20th, 2025. Late in the day, I'm meteorologist Brian Shields. Thank you for being with me. This area of high concern. Some of us are now going into action mode, and I don't use this term lightly at all. You know me, but life-threatening flooding is now a possibility and a likelihood in some spots, and that's why we're going into action mode. It is this area that's moved in. We've had some rain at times, some of it heavy. Puerto Rico, the U.S. British Virgin Islands, across the Eastern Caribbean, keeping an eye on the ABC Islands as this area continues to work its way off to the west. And as it does, it is going to develop. But regardless of development, and regardless of the track at this point, this is going to start to bring days of rain to parts of Haiti and the Dominican Republic, potentially parts of Cuba and Jamaica as we go down the road. So with that said, we are now in action mode to protect life and property in Haiti and the Dominican Republic. Again, even if this doesn't make landfall, say this area stays to the south and just works its way off to the west, it is a big sprawly system. So that means days and days of rain for some of us across Haiti, back toward the Dominican Republic, especially the south side, Santo Domingo, watching over toward Jacmel, Boston Blue, for example. High concern for some of the river crossings, that are very popular around Jacmel, for example. We're going to see that potential of life-threatening flooding. So if you could do me the favor, if nothing else, spread this information, share the link. If you run a ministry in the Dominican Republic or Haiti, nobody needs to subscribe. It's not about that. I just want you to spread the right information about this, that life-threatening flooding is now a high potential in parts of Haiti and the Dominican Republic. This is why I do this channel. I can't stress it enough. I'm very concerned about the rain amounts with this. And with that said, a direct hit is still possible, but regardless, watching the rain. So again, we are taking action at this point. The best thing you could do is spread the word. If we have homes and people living down by the rivers, living on the mountainsides that typically have some of those rock slides, especially in parts of Haiti, please just get that information out that there is a...
And listen carefully, ladies and gentlemen. He's going to touch into what the possibilities are coming to Jamaica and parts of Cuba. So I want you to pay particular attention to this section of the weatherman's report. Here we go. And do
potentially
remember,
right in...
hold on a second, ladies and gentlemen. Do remember that this was hours ago. So at this point in time, some impact of the rains and so on that he's talking about is already happening. So I hear my guest just chimed in, so I will be touching on it with him in a few minutes. However, let's continue to listen to the weather report here.
Into the weekend so that folks can just do what they can, best they can. We all have different means across Haiti, the Dominican Republic, and everywhere. So it's one of those times we just want to help people out best we can. It's always good to be helpful in a situation like this, but just getting that information out, that is critical. Now, we remain in monitor mode in Jamaica and Cuba. Know that I'm watching elsewhere. Puerto Rico, looks like we're going to have some flooding. We're not seeing this area that is, it doesn't look like this is going to make a direct hit into Puerto Rico. That's some good news, but we're going to see the risk of some flooding, watching the Turks and Caicos, Bahamas, watching the rest of Cuba, Cayman Islands down the road, keeping an eye on Honduras, Belize, Nicaragua. You know I've got you covered, but Jamaica and eastern Cuba now, we're still in monitor mode in Jamaica, but again, in eastern Cuba, we're now in monitor mode. That's a heightened alert. What do we need to do if we have to go into action mode to protect property, to protect life, no doubt? As we go through tonight, I'm going to be watching very carefully Jamaica. The threat is a little bit higher that this area is going to at least be very close and developing. So we may soon have to go into action mode. That is a high possibility for Jamaica. Give me about 12 hours or so. Again, I'll do a video in the middle of the night if need be, but tomorrow morning, most likely, we'll see if we're going into action mode. But I do want to value your resources as well. Let's hold in monitor mode at this point, but a slow moving system could be nearby. And again, one of those situations where we don't need a direct hit to even have some significant weather with some of the rain amounts. I've been in touch with folks in the Dominican Republic, our team in Haiti, and again, back in Jamaica, getting the pulse on the ground of what's going on for us in Jamaica as well. Now, these are the 3-day rain totals. This is based off a model. This is likely to change, but this just gives us an idea, right? Regardless of exactly where you are, this gives us an idea of the amount of rain this area has. It is off of my chart. You see, here's the 20 centimeter, 200 millimeter marker right here, 8 inches of rain. That would be the red. This yellow shading, we're talking about 25 centimeters or 10 inches of rain. That is a higher possibility. Southern coast of the Dominican Republic back toward Haiti. If this makes a direct hit into Hispaniola, of course, those totals would be much higher. These are significant totals. I can't express that enough. Having trouble expressing that as well. Can't express that enough again, especially as we get back toward Haiti and the Dominican Republic. That is why we're in action mode. Jamaica.
So, ladies and gentlemen, listen carefully. That yellow section, they're talking about 10 inches or more of rain. And that's significant. You're talking landslides, flooding. You're talking serious damage here. And it's heading like northwest. And it could impact Jamaica. So let's listen a little bit more. And we're going to, if I have to come on live tomorrow, then I will, if this is going to be, well, it's going to be serious. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's continue to listen.
We need to see, again, this is just a 3-day total. This is going to be a slow mover. We need to see how close this area gets. But again, eastern Cuba and Jamaica spreading the word here that we're in monitor mode. Turks and Caicos watching things very closely. Puerto Rico, we're going to have some high totals. Again, while I don't see a direct hit, we're going to have some areas that could have significant flooding. So Puerto Rico, even the British and U.S. Virgin Islands watching that. To the south of all this, keeping an eye on the ABC Islands. Some of the rain has been enhanced elsewhere.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to watch this closely during the wee hours of the morning because this is extremely important. This is big. This is a big deal. I'm having trouble even talking about it, how serious this is, because that yellow section scares me. That's 10 inches or more. That's a lot of water. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, be aware, it's still hurricane season. I'm going to follow up with you in the morning if needs be, but watch your emergency management channels, watch your weather channels, start preparing, because from what I'm seeing, whichever way you look at it, something is going to happen. All right, so it's very close. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to RAMP Promotions, PIP Mondays. So, also, let's get to some good news. My daughter Shantae, who just had my second grandchild, and that's Shauna, has a birthday on Friday. We're counting down. Big up to Shantae, there she is. There you go. That's a beautiful thing. Her birthday's on Friday. I'm telling you, we're counting down the hours now. Big up to my lovely daughter and granddaughter. They're doing quite well. God bless you both. And we'll be talking closer to Friday and on Friday. So let's start with a little bit of inspiration before we get to the main topic of tonight, part 2 of Mr. Vivian Thomas. He's in the wings waiting, and we don't want to keep him waiting too long. So let's get into the inspiration and then the main topic. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. So I'm going to bring to you some inspiration as we normally do, because God knows we need it. And with this weather coming in the Caribbean, I know you guys down there need it as well. So let's get that going, and then we'll move over to the main event with the big man himself. All right, so here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Let's share the screen and give you your first inspiration for the night. So we're going to pick that up and get going. Here we go. We're going to share that with you. I hope this helps each and every one of you. And I do hope it's making an impact. Please like, share, subscribe, comment, click the notification bell, and let others know when you are coming on live. So you can help others to better themselves. You know, it's sad that, you know, Papa Biggie, he made a song for the masses, and he said he's not going to sell it. The reason why he's not going to sell it is because there's a high suicide rate across the world. And it's so sad that a lot of a huge portion of society, especially young people, are committing suicide. I'm sure you're aware of it. If you're not, then you need to be. This is why I chose not to make any jokes anymore on this program. In terms of at the beginning, we can have jokes down the line, yes, but there's a serious epidemic of suicides, and we need to inject some positives into society. And I ask each and every one of you to do what you can. You do what you can to encourage others to be positive and to help their neighbors. You get what I'm saying? So it's extremely important that you help. Each one helps one. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, here we go with our first inspiration for the night. And I hope this helps each and every one of you. And you can pass this on to someone else who needs it. Because I understand the world is going so fast and a lot is being left behind. So let's be our brother's keeper. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. First inspiration. Let's go. Okay, is that working? Let's see if we can get that working. Let's check this out. Here we go. Now, let's get that going.
Past, because he's terrified of your future. He knows God is preparing your victory, and he will never win. He wants your mind stuck in regret, chained by shame, buried in fear. But hear this, the devil is a liar. What's done is done. What's gone is gone. Your mistakes don't define you. They shaped you. Your scars are not shame. They are badges of honor. And every tear you shed, God saw them all. Nothing you've walked through was wasted. Every storm built strength. Every loss gave wisdom. Every valley prepared you for higher ground. Even in the silence, God was working behind the scenes. So don't look back with fear. Look forward with faith. The enemy cannot erase what God has already written. And what's ahead will always be greater than what's behind. The devil keeps dragging you to your past because he's terrified of your future.
Exactly so, ladies and gentlemen, and do believe that, because it's extremely important that you understand that God is always standing by. So let's have the second of the inspirational videos tonight and take it from there. So let's get that on the screen. So here we go. So one more to go. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Just a second. So be your brother's keeper and Each one help one. You know what I mean? So here we go. Check this out. Okay, so we have a similar situation with this video. It refuses to start, so let's refresh that and let's go.
Heal toxic. Loving people harder doesn't make them love you back. And over-explaining yourself doesn't guarantee you'll be understood. The day you realize this, you'll be free. Free from the exhausting cycle of trying to change people who don't want to change. Free from the endless need to prove your worth to those who can't see it. And free from the burden of holding on to what's not meant for you. Freedom comes when you accept that not everyone will love, understand, or appreciate you. And that's okay. It's not your job to fix, heal, or convince anyone. Your energy is better spent on those who see your value without you having to beg for recognition. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means choosing yourself, your peace, and your happiness. The truth is, life becomes lighter when you stop carrying the weight of others' opinions, actions, or lack of appreciation. You deserve the kind of love and understanding that flows naturally, not the kind you have to fight for. You can't fix stupid. You can't heal toxic. Loving people harder doesn't make them love you.
And that's a fact, ladies and gentlemen. So just remind yourself, rewind it and listen it again and again, and you'll get it. So welcome back to PIP Mondays, where we prioritize, inform, and promote. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to say greetings to all my children, grandchildren, family, and friends. I love you all. And a special love goes out to Elizabeth, as she's now home, ladies and gentlemen, recovering. She's not out of the woods, but we're happy that she's home. So she's out of the hospital, and we say thank you for all the prayers and well wishes and so on. It was really heartfelt between myself and her mother, Joanne. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and we say thank God for being there for all of us. You know what I mean? So that's a beautiful thing. Tonight, the main topic, we're here. So tonight, without further ado, we have him waiting a long time, the man himself, Mr. Vivian Thomas. Where is he at? Welcome, Mr. Thomas. Greetings.
Blessed night, everybody. Blessed night. Having a bit of, I would say, weather issues for the week, but have to be thankful despite all of that. Just heard some good news about your daughter as well, so there's more things to be thankful for. So life over everything, I would say in Jamaica. Life over everything. So
every
you know
time.
that rest is history as long as we have got that roll with.
You know, there's a warning for Jamaica right now in terms of the weather pattern that's coming to you maybe in a few hours. So you got to be prepared for it. I was watching the weather.
Had a week of it, really. I think when it comes to this season, average Jamaican is more going, all right, cool, let's see what it really, really looks like. This might sound sometimes even bad to say. 10 inches of rain, I think that's a normal forecast around these sides this time of year. When we worry is like, how long is it going to prolong for?
Yes. Well, I'm more concerned of the low-lying areas, the flat areas, and also the mountainside.
Oh, those are going to be flooded.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I mean. It's like living in the Caribbean and these sides, you go, all right, cool. So we know we might get a rough one, but I don't know how. This is why I say sometimes we remove when we use this monetary term amongst brothers and sisters. Our question is not how much damage is like. So how long is this going to last for now? That's how we assess the damage. Like, is this a week, 2 weeks? Because you know what 1 day of damage can look like. It can be like a whole city and town flooded. And to the average person, that might not sound, that's a lot. So to live in the Caribbean and just go, Is it going to be 2 weeks of flood or 3 weeks of flood? Is a whole different mindset of balancing these turmoil times. So again, we give thanks, but we can't afford to take more battering than we've taken over the last couple of hurricanes. We're not in a
I
position
tell
right
you.
now to
Well,
take on anything
I
like
pray
that.
for everybody on the island, including yourself, your lovely wife, and your family. I hope you keep safe during this time, because we know it's hurricane season, but it's never a good news. When
Never,
it comes,
never.
never good news. You know, just to move a little bit forward here, Mr. Thomas, in our last PIP Mondays, you gave a historical um you went through the history of yourself. I mean, from your young days up to your college days, and now you at that, if I remember right, you are at the point where you're saying, now I'm out here in the world, and you're
Hmm?
trying to figure out, why is it that what I'm thinking, the world is not thinking the same, they're not thinking the same way, and you're working yourself through. So I wanted you to continue from there, with the interesting topic, because, as I said, you have a library of information, and the youths will benefit immensely from it. And I want to also touch into, you sent me a couple of magazines that are pretty much interesting. It's the first time I'm seeing it, and it-
So that's some of the literature we put together for our culture. As you're aware, we write about the culture, the things happening in the culture, whether it's music, business, fashion, arts, entertainment, and culture, basically. So it covers the core essence of our people. I like to look at it
right,
that way and bring a light to the ones who are sometimes behind the scenes that don't really get this highlight that many people go, so how did that come about? Because you know how it is. Everybody sees Michael Jackson, but nobody stops to ask who's Quincy Jones. And
exactly.
something I always remind my students of, and this is the part that they always go, especially the millennials. I go, Quincy Jones made Thriller at 50, right? He was 50. And that's not even his greatest work. And everybody's like, what? So what you mean that's not his greatest work? And every adult they don't think Thriller is all that. I was like, yeah, 6 years later, that dude did Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, a whole TV series for 10 years on a track. That's harder. It's like, wow. So just to bring the conversation full circle, PIP, that's what we speak about, and those are things we highlight. Intellectual property, things that are curated from your mind that you take from how you'd say it, from the mud, from your literally culture, you ground up from when you basically build a box truck and you go, you know what, this is actually a toy. Some countries probably toy move from your box truck to being sold in a store. So it's really about that. How do you take those ideas you have, those songs in your head, those screenplays with your vivid imagination? How do you take all of that, turn it into a reality, and then move it along in the journey of life? And
Mhm.
as Sir George was nicely explaining, I'd reached adulthood and an extremely dangerous crossroads, because there's an old saying, the map is not the terrain. So literally thinking that, hey, on paper, this is how it should work. Why is it not working? Is different from being out in the workforce dealing with different characters, different characteristics, different peoples from different walks of life, different environments, and you having to truthfully unlearn even some of your behavior. Because again, we're all human, and not everything we were taught is correct, but we lived within it. And when it comes to dealing with different artists, artisans, you're going to realize also that they carry there's this interesting word. I want to be thread carefully. They're somewhat schizo. And I say that in an extremely polite way, because all of our great artisans, whether it's Bach, Beethoven, Tchaikovsky, I could tell you a story about each one of them that would go, that's what defined their greatness versus the composition or the pieces that we listen to or look at. Example, Beethoven was literally deaf when he wrote the greatest symphony of all time. Tchaikovsky's marriage didn't even last 2 weeks. He was so gay. Chopin, the most quote unquote miserable composer of all time, the first time anybody ever really saw him play was in a Paris market on a broken piano, and he astounded the crowd because the piano was broken and the dude still made it sound like it was quite fine. So most of these people's aura, greatness, and things that it's actually part of their characteristic versus just the greatness of the pieces they made. And we have to learn to deal with each individual as individuals. And growing up, when you have learned and trained behavior, I've seen this in academia, I've seen it in variable outfits, and you've probably seen it in military people. When you're trained a particular way, sometimes they're not realizing that others aren't trained. They're trained. But because you're kind of looking at them like, why aren't you understanding that this is healthy for you, or they are not trained. They've not been in a system to enlighten, educate, and open. So you're bringing something brand new to them. And in the world of creatives, that's why there's always a dysfunction, even between when a creative is speaking to someone in a boardroom. They're speaking in colors and the boardroom is speaking in numbers. So normally someone has to be there to mediate these type of conversations. Again, this is where someone like myself will come into play. That was my very early experience walking out of college, trying to figure out this entertainment thing, trying to match pen and paper to the realities, and it just wasn't happening.
And let me kind of stick a pin there, Mr. Thomas, because I heard you talking about Beethoven, Tchaikovsky, and also, Chopin and all those guys. And when you talk about college, I always say education is the key to open a lot of doors and open the mind. Because you may say that lightly here, but for those who know, will know the magnitude of what you just said. For others, they will brush it off as he's not. What is he saying? You know what I mean? So
if
to
they only understand.
open your minds, I'm saying to everybody who's watching, just remember that seek knowledge. You don't have to go into the classroom now. You can
There's
self-learn.
tutorials there, yeah.
You can also seek it in many other ways now. You have a lot of options, but if you don't know, seek the knowledge, because this conversation will fly over a lot of heads. And I don't want that to happen. I say seek knowledge. Listen to it. Google it now. You can ask your phone to tell you, or your computer.
There you
go. It will explain it to you.
That's fundamental, because what I find, especially now, and I'm only in my 40s, I found out when I was trying to educate and enlighten the youth, they'll go, "You sure about?" And I'd be like, "Google's your best friend." I'm like, "Google's." I took that line off Jay-Z, like, "Google's your best friend." Like, seriously, yeah. Don't be afraid to challenge the status. Yeah, Google's your best. Go on. Search all you want. Dig. If the rabbit hole leads you all, keep digging then. Because if you doubt it, and as I would always explain, and I said to people, your purpose drives knowledge, which in return drives wisdom. Anything you're curious about, anything you love, you can't disguise love without curiosity. I don't care if it's a woman or an industry. If you're interested in her, you're finding yourself over there. You start asking these questions like, hey, who are you? What are if you anything you love computer, you're going to go, so what this key about? You're on instruments, so what does this string thing really do? So once you start asking questions, you're opening the door. And that's one of the things I tell people, never be afraid to ask. I don't have the answer. All right, so both of us we're going to find out at the same time. Let's go. It is nothing wrong with not knowing. What is problematic is for us to be comfortable with not knowing.
I must continue talking. I gotta plug in something before we go dead.
And that's the catch. So when you leave school and you're doing things like the arts and these subjective kind of industries, you're dealing with all different type of characters. I ran into that very early. Navigation for that, not easy. Coming out of a trained facility, again, not easy because, again, I've been trained my whole life. So part of it was me having to unlearn that, hey, you are trained. And no offense to anybody, I'm going to be very polite with these words. When you're brought up in love, you don't understand what is means to be in survival mode. And I think a lot of people struggle with that understanding. When you're brought in love, love is something that you learn to spread because it's reciprocated. So you give it out. Survival means it's about me, and more me. Love is the opposite. It's about you giving it out. You wake up in the morning, you smile, you get back a smile. Say to your neighbor, morning, you good? Yeah, you good. It's you give, reciprocate. Survival is about you, and more you. So I will proudly say I was brought up in love. So going out into the entertainment world where a lot of entertainment, whether white, Elvis and them came from a poor household, whether you're black, coming from normally a poor household. And when I say poor, I don't mean poor as in financial. That's why I use the word survival mode. So you're dealing with different type of animals because we're all animals here. We're just supposed to be the more intelligent ones. So when animal is in survival mode, Elvis is always going to excel over his quote unquote white peers. He's in survival mode. He's coming from a band and he outshone the other four in the very same band. This is the part of history that people don't like to hear. I don't care whether he plagiarized or stole music, because again, you're still stealing from Bach, Beethoven, and Tchaikovsky, as I just said. So that's not going to change. What is a fact is the intrinsic value of that. I want it so bad. So you're entering in an industry where a lot of people are on survival mode. Does not matter the color of skin. The easiest thing is I have to deal with my culture and a lot of my people. So I identify that survival mode. Speaking of that, when entering this industry very early, that's why a lot of the talent pool, the most talented, is not the highest crop. Because that survival mode means they're willing to take each one out. So if you put a bunch of piranhas in a tank, just imagine what's going to happen. They're going to take each other out. And then what you find is, probably that one have more brawn, but no brain. What you're going to find, that's what you're going to have to deal with. And then music is crotchets, notes, and semicolons. The business of music is perpetual, universal, sync rights. There's a different language. So to identify that, hey, you have to now put your mind into learning mode. Either you're going to learn these crotchets, notes, semicolon, scales, cards, and everything, or you're going to come over to this side and you're still going to learn copyright, sync rights. Pick it. You have a choice, but you don't want to be in this game/industry and you know neither side of the fence, and then wake up 12 years later and then screaming, hey, the world hates me, everybody hates me, but now you hated yourself. Because once you get to a tenure, you should start to figure some stuff out, which means speaks now to me about your purpose and desire, which drives knowledge, because you want to know. So when you see people who are not interested in asking the whys, it's a easy for me to now use those Richter scales at this age now to say, hey, all right, 3 years. I give him 3 years. It's unfortunate, but also as a former A&R, it's now easier when I sit in rooms, the questions that are being asked that are, here's a jewel for most people. The value of your question will determine the value of your outcome. That's simple. Take that one and lodge it. So if you go into anywhere and you ask silly questions, you then don't expect some rational, great theoretical answer. If you don't want to know about your life and you walk into a room that's about your life and you're not asking the right questions about your life, it speaks volumes to the room about what your interests are.
I must interject there and say that critical thinking is lacking in many corridors, and because the thought process is surface based, it's not deep, then you get a lot of these light questions without really thinking about it. You know what I mean? So it is necessary to kind of slow down and begin to think critically in terms of what you want to do, where you're going, what are your goals.
That was my love-hate with the industry. That was literally my love-hate, my passion and the curse simultaneously. I'm in love with my culture, but I hated having to deal with people who only wanted to price the culture or price what they're doing. No values to anything. We can't speak beyond, hey, what's the plan for 36 months? Let's do this like a real business then. Let's lay out a 36-month plan here. Like, what you want? So that slight arrogance, as they would call it, coming out of college and having this music background and saying, hey, this is what we want to build, let's go. And it was like, nah, B. And this is where I want to tell some people, say, I don't like to call names, but I make some people know this. Anything you see Sean Paul with it, love that brother here. I'm telling you that. I was there in Jeremy's studio in the 90s, running around with my artist, trying to sell him this convo and having Jeremy sit there and school them. And this is before we're speaking about the internationally renowned show. They were destined for that. Their work ethic was second to none. It was never about talent. This is why I always tell people, be careful when you throw talent in the mix. Of course, the man's talented, but so is many others. So I'm not denying his talent. Just telling people that study the game. If you choose an industry, study it. He studied it. Jeremy studied it. The team studied it. Fahrenheit, they studied it. Sat down with books in studio like, hey, yo, you see the part, yo? It's like, yo, these guys are for real. Yeah. and no internet. These guys were passing on books. So I firsthand can testify to that. When I tell people now, you can tell me about the hype part, but I'll accept it because I know the work part that came with that hype.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So, and I had a.
And we gotta emphasize that it's also teamwork. If you have a team and you have a talented person who is not a team player, then he's of no use.
They were all on the same mission, and again,
Exactly.
this goes back to our, well, extremely my early education about life in general and work in general and people in general, because
Mhm.
I'm learning how to differentiate what's my goal different from what's my dream. And I'm saying, I know what I want, but what's the route here? Because this textbook route is not working. And again, I've told people this all the time. I was everywhere. And that was because searching for answers. And this is one of the trippiest things I'll tell somebody. I'm sitting on a wall. This is why I don't even like talk these stories sometimes because it's crazy. But this is why I know when people say, if I believe in God, I said, I'm the walking testament. What are you talking about? I'm sitting on a wall in Waterhouse. Jamming studios down the road. Right? 4 minutes. Who drives up? My friend's father from school. He's a famous producer that used to be with Tubbies. His name is Mr. Don McDowell of former Concord Records. Sat on the board at Jaria. He's a minister. He is everything to me. He is one of my first early mentors. He is one of the reasons why I'm still in this industry, particularly. That man took me off the wall, said, hey, you're way too talented and way too smart to be sitting here. And I know where your heart is because you looked after my son for 5 years. So I know where your heart is. So all of this, I think I know what you want to do. I don't think you understand what you want to do. It's like, yeah, because I'm about to kill 2 people around here. Now this shit not working. That's where I was like. I was getting fed up. It was like, yeah, I can see it. Now, again, I'm pretty young. Still there. Remember, this is the early 90s. I'm in my teens. Don was like, you're good at music. You're good at all these things. I'm running a program at the college, MBTT. I'm down at Edna. I'm down at Thingy Alpha Boys. I'm down at all of these places. I'm up by Full Sail. Come and join me. I'll pay for you to go to school. This is like the 3rd time I've ever said this publicly to the masses. Someone said, I will gamble on you because I know what your intent is and who you are as a character. I was like, Dan, I'm not even sure I want to do this thing. I said, yo, you're probably a damn good engineer. Come on. I ended up right there, right back in school again. That's why when I tell people, I'm always in school. So I left college with one brain, trying to get it across. Dan gave me another entry in. Like, see that champion brain you're trying to use to get through that door? You're going to have to find a different route. Now, here's your route. You're going to have to not play music, make music. Make music. Yeah. Don't try and manage them. Don't try to steer the talent. Don't try and make no band. None of that. None of that. Just cut it out, Viv. Because you always seeing the other person's talent. I was like, all right, I'll gamble on me. Within a year, Don called Jammins and said, hey, I have a protege sitting here right now. You need to come and get this kid now. Most people don't know that's how I ended up at Jammins Studios, Jammins engineer in the 90s. And when people hear these famous tracks of somebody throwing this word around slow-mo in the background, that was my quote-unquote nickname at Jammins because they said I spoke slowly and articulated my words. So he speaks in slow motion. So they slow and they threw it in. It wasn't even me. I didn't even care less. So to bring this story so people could understand, I lived so many departments of music that when I was introduced to engineering, it's because me trying to sell the ideology to my peers that, hey, this DJ thing is not just a DJ thing, it's a full-fledged business. See, I brought you the contracts, I showed you all of this, I've gone all over the world, I brought you all of this, but I was never, and this sounds weird, because even though my wife would say, I wasn't looking at myself. I was just looking at, there's so much talent around me. Like, boy, it was like, to me, we had so much superpowers. It was like, yeah, man. But again, I was the one fortunate to be seeing the world and more understanding. Like, if you could do that here and you do that there, you have a whole life going. We don't need this corner thing in our identity. You're too talented. So it was a battle. A battle. That's why when I started, I said I had to deal with a lot of people who were in survival mode because no matter how talented they were, convincing someone else of their own God-given talent, it would require, and this is harsh but true, it would require God himself to send them their epiphany. If you come and you speak, that means with all due respect, I was not the person or the one God chose to get through to that person. They would have to have a whole different epiphany for them to see who they are. They'd have to deal with their own journey on that road to Damascus. Because you telling a man, yo, you're great. Yo, if you just settle in and lock in, we can do this. You can save a family here. You can move out the hood and get it together. And like, you went to school. I did. You this, I did. And it became a constant of me trying to prove something that should never have been trying to prove from jump. There was so much swimming upstream. So when I tell a lot of people, some of the best writers, they've never finished their book. Quite a few of them. Some of the best artists, that man won't even spend an hour in the studio. Met a few of them. Some of the best athletes in the world, no disrespect to Usain Bolt. We have 10 countrymen who can run faster than him right now. They don't care. So it makes you look like, wow, you know who you are. And I said, that journey in the world of the artisan world is more about character and characteristics. Now, when you're dealing with the academia world, it's black and white. I can throw down a pen and paper and go, hey, this is it. If you're not, well, if I'm speaking to anyone who's in academia behind a desk, I don't need to over-explain anything. It's there, read, you tell me, we'll mark out whatever needs to be addressed and we get to that. Dealing with talent and individuals lives, traumas, all the above, that's a whole. I've learned to become a therapist, a lawyer, a doctor. I wore so many hats trying to get through to peers, friends, sometimes even family. And it was a battle. And the double oxy of it all is you're measured by your success, no matter what you think. And then success is defined by the person, goggles, who's seeing it. So if that person don't see 10 number one, how dare you tell him about productions? And I had to learn that because, again, I was young. I thought me wanting the best for you, whether or not I had a plaque or not, whether or not I went to school or not, I grew up thinking that was the right thing to do. I have a slice of bread, I break it in half, man. Yeah, if we're gonna starve, both of us starve for the day and we got through life. But again, I was brought up in love, so I wasn't in a constant thinking of self. So I
But
had to learn that
coming
growing
against
up.
a world that was in survival mode, especially many years ago, it was actually survival mode
Yeah,
for the most part. And
yeah, literally.
coming up against that and then comparing it to now, how do you see it?
This is where mature and this. I'm glad you asked it in that way because this is where I'm going to thread carefully, but I'm also going to throw some shots. Earlier, when you said education is key, education, EDU, knowledge from within, cation, the Greek to do it within cipher. So you already had the knowledge inside you, but now you needed a cation, which is what we're doing now. You passing on knowledge as a older person, and let me make this clear to people, seek counsel. When your elders them or you hear people say, seek counsel, it means it's okay. Because now in year 2025, I go to therapy and I go to counseling. Oh, you know what you just did? You seek counsel. That's what you really did. So back in our days, somebody would say, seek counsel, man. Talk to one of the elder them. Get to one of your ancient them. Go and have a sit with your gramps. Yeah, it might be a tough talk. You might not hear what you want to hear. But go and have a talk with the elder them. I mean, them may break down some things, because there's some things you don't see, you don't live it. You haven't seen it. So, Don, again, with praise, Don assisted me in that. This man, I'm his son's friend. So, it's obviously I'm speaking about a grown man. Grown man was able to see my frustration and understand, say, hey, let's rechannel that energy. I know what you want to do, but you want to lick down two people, because this is the next part that, again, people completely misunderstand. And if I really speak in a certain decoded way, I want to layman it for people. Intelligence has the shortest temper. It is ignorance that you see argues back and forth. Intelligence, after one statement and it's going left, I will crack your skull. Because we know where this is going before it goes there. And when
Absolutely.
insults, you're right. When I tell people that words hit like bullets, when insults start to hit, people forget who brought who up. So, a fool's argue for 15, 20 minutes with this one. F you. No, that's a two idiot argue. Just trust my partner. And you see that keep going. No, man. Don't worry yourself. Make you see 2 sensible man start that. By the time you reach the second, everybody hands out. Everybody starts square up. So, nobody want to be back and forth with you. You say the wrong thing to the wrong grown man, it might knock you out. You pay the consequence for your mouth. This era where yo, say anything and type anything and do it. I'm not from that era. I'm from an era where you have manners. Once you start going certain places with the conversation, it becomes literally fighting words. Like, so when in passionate moments, and yes, Jamaicans, we are extremely passionate in how we describe things. So even when you want the best for someone, again, it can go the opposite way because passion will lead to a whole different line of conversation. And as Marcus said, intelligence bear the burden, you know. I don't think people,
Absolutely.
I don't know if them get what I mean, but I know what he means. Is you have to just, you know what, walk away. Because I know if I stand there, I'd be not doing this.
Some
So intelligence,
things, some conversation do not really, employ a reply.
no, no.
You
That's
know,
why,
some relationships merits that you walk away.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And they say the hardest things to do is the right things to do.
yeah.
For the most part, I've said this to many people, and I've also said this up to this evening to a good one of my clients. I said, look, keep it calm. You know where you're going. Don't allow someone to rent a space in your head. You're far greater than that. Also, there was a good friend of mine. We attended George Mason University together. And he said something to me that his mom told him. His mom was an attorney. And she asked him, what do you want? And how do you plan to get it? He said he brushed it off, but he got the full understanding of what she said to him years later.
Ditto.
What do you want, and how you plan to get it?
Yep.
That was Robert Chamberlain. He's
Wow.
still a friend of mine. He's in Washington D.C. And I send this out to my audience. What do you want? How do you plan to get it?
I
Because a
think
lot of us
I
go
think the
through this.
latter part, Sir George, is where a lot of youths, especially young men between 16 to 21, let's use that bracket. I think that's the hardest concrete anything you'll get out of them is slightly miscued, if not trained. And I say that with respect because that's exactly it. If you're not from a family that and this again, people might say it's cliche, regurgitate the same thing just in different ways. Hey, what's your plans? Where you up to? Yeah,
Mm,
find some little soft spots to keep them. Hey, so what's your plan? Where you up to? Because when we get to our age, and just example is the same thing you're saying, Don taught me that about myself. Don was like, you were saying this from high school, so I know where your head is. I was like, wow, was I? It's like, man, yo, you spent 5 years with my son in my house. I really kind of know where your head is. So I'm not even thinking that this man is noticing.
mm-hmm.
And that's why I say people gamble on your reality. If a man say I lift water every day, he's not going to ask you on day 5, are you going? He sees, he knows. He knows. He knows.
Mm-hmm.
So don't bother think say your work I got in vain. So that a
So
rule.
So therefore, when we ask the question, it's, as you said, it's like a cliche. It's been asked in many different ways, and it's the
Yeah.
same thing. Way up to, you know,
There you go.
what do you want? How do you get it? How you plan to get it? This is part of that answer where you're relating your story. You're imparting your knowledge to those who do not know how to navigate through these waters. You have a magazine that you put up, traveling through the crowded streets of Kingston. I beg my audience to watch it. I want to just quickly put it up here, so a lot many others can understand what we're talking about. And I beg you to read, ladies and gentlemen, read, please, as much
Yeah,
as you
man.
can. Gather information, because the gentleman before you, Mr. Thomas, has a lot to share with you, and this is part of his work. So let's put this on the screen here, and let me take the banner down so you can see a lot more what's going on here. So, kind of tell me a little bit about this, not only this work, but Pusha Youth. Pusha Youth, Inc. Is that Inc? Yeah.
Yep. It's an
So,
incorporated because I had to, and this is going to be a weird, funny story in a weird way. When I built Pusher Youth is older than people think. And this is where I said how narratives and I'm 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 going to go nerd, extremely nerd now. So please, people, just work with me here. If you take note of how English language and semantics is over the last 15 years that certain linguistics are now a part of your language scheme. 20 years ago, when I was speaking to youth about intellectual property and about them actually being an artisan, which is now a common again word in the daily player entertainment, those words were not being used. Yeah. So let me be clear. When I was telling the average tailor, dressmaker in Jamaica that, hey, you're not a dressmaker, you're actually a designer. When I was telling tailors and dressmakers that, they were like, no, I'm like, no, that's what they told you. So Pusher Youth, I built Pusher Youth as a incubation hub for intellectual property. So that one, I could take your ideas, educate you how to bring those ideas to light. Now, the catch was this, because nobody was speaking within that jargon 15, 20 years ago, because actually, weirdly enough, Pusher Youth kind of started in Europe because I was pitching it as a module. I was pitching it all across Europe in '07 and them times, 2007, pitching the module. And the interesting thing is, I was already an established producer then, in terms of I already had a couple hits under my belt and I could walk around through any room. And I still wasn't trying to sell music because, again, I keep telling people music has never been for sale. I don't care what year, what century, what era. So now that people going, hey, why isn't music selling? Music was never for sale. Again, with due respect, you fall in love with Michael Jackson, so you buy 25 million things associated with his brand. Music isn't for sale. If music was for sale, you only get Thriller Part 2 1984. You'd have take Thriller 1983 before Quincy take it off of the shelf and go remix it. So it's not music that's for sale, people. Yes? Good. So we have so many examples. It's not music. So I brought in Pusher Youth to identify intellectual property. The youth them were these smart, the girl them were these smart people who could, hey, how can turn what you do into an everyday skill so that you can look after you and yours. So the brainchild, I run around with it, but nobody was buying into it. I took that to Europe, and a company. I got. Let me make this clear before anybody. After being thrown out of a few offices, a company by the name of and I want to get a flip story, but I'm not going to call the company's name because no, can't take a slander or a defamation and you're under a lawsuit. A company also threw me out of one of the office, politely saying this ideology is a bit too ebony for them. But anyway, that's a whole different convo. But there was a company that go, see what you're saying. But I thought they were just giving me that nice Hollywood double kiss cheating. Yeah, man, I'll get back to you kind of vibe. But a couple weeks later, they did. And I was already in Europe because, again, as I said, I was shopping the company around. And that company that actually took the conversation with me was Dancing City. Dancing City had belonged to the first black man to build an album for the Pope. So it took that person to see my vision. His name is Jean Singulos. So put that in your record books, people. So I had a meeting with Jean Singulos, and Jean said, this is the next crack up part. So you're a Jamaican. You sure you're all Jamaican? I was like, that I used to be an ex-pet peeve for me, because I used to get things like, you speak well. And I spoke to Jamaicans before and they don't sound like you. It's like, I know Jamaicans ever brought this in and documented and have a plan and trying to get us in bed for 5 years. And we went to your country with a marketing plan and we packed up and came home like, this isn't going to work. And where were you? I was like, right there. I'm just saying. But again, it goes back to why I can testify to Jamaican culture that, hey, there have been countless Fortune 500 companies that have been to the island that have looked to do business, but because of the lack of knowledge of an industry, and this is where I want people not to misinterpret what I'm saying and where I'm going. If you're a doctor, I expect you to do 5 years a normal med school and then 5 years of specialty. So this is where people always get these people's professions confused. Even the dentist goes to med school. Even the dentist is a medical doctor, but he still went to dental school following. And with any industry, as you know, everything carries a specialist. And with respect to my fellow countrymen, that's why you see a lot of intellectual property in Jamaica out there in the world, but the reciprocating end from it, like if you follow stocks, trades, and such forth, and you're a proper businessman, there's something that's not quantifying, meaning the math isn't mathing. You can't have this volume of notoriety without, and this minimal of turnover to notoriety. Business is P2C, which everybody should know, and you can only sell 2 types of business because only 2 types of business exist in the world. It's either you're going to sell a product or you're going to sell a service. So the doctor gives you a service, but the pharmacists give you the pills in it. So one gives you a service, one gives you the actual tangible item that you can touch. So every business is going to require products and services. Music's intangible. The arts is intangible. So it falls as a service industry. Now, what's intangible is what you call merch, the byproducts of it. That's why I was bringing up the Michael Jackson thing. Now, most people, again, which I don't want to sound extremely arrogant, but 15, 20 years ago when I was lecturing these things, up by a Edna, courtesy of the Don and these people. Most people is like, this information is foreign. It's like, they're like, whoa, what you mean? I'm like, yeah, that's why I said music doesn't sell. So when people are trying to tell me music sold, I was like, no, music doesn't sell. So when people say, so why does that person go and sell 50 million records? It's because that 50 million records, let's do business. Every business, the biggest part of every expenditure in every business is called marketing department. Marketing department. You go to a bank, downstairs where the tellers are, that's just one little floor. Why does it have 10 floors? HR and PR takes up most of those floors. Good. So if they can't get people to come through the door, upstairs don't make no sense. So it's never about the low part. Whether it's Mickey D don't make money on the burgers. They make money on the ties, meaning the fries and the juice that sell by a gallon that nobody's really drinking. So it's not the burger, it's not the fries, it's the combination of everything and then added to the real estate. So when you need to ask, it's the same thing. Any business, follow the money. So trying to sell intellectual property or trying to teach my brothers and sisters, say, watch out, this thing you're doing sounds cute, but there's 50 of that outside. How do we differentiate you from that? And then entrepreneurship is, how do you solve a problem? So first we need to ask, what's the problem here? And then I start to realize lack of knowledge is the problem here. I don't know. So I asserted myself in that position, which brought us Pusher Youth. So with due respect, and I'm very proud of saying it, Pusher Youth right now, the cameraman up at CVM, my classroom. So I just don't like, I'm just not somebody who like to drop names, but my 15 years is all over your industry. You just hear Chronic Strap exam. My 15 years of the
Absolutely.
teaching part is all over this industry because I was ready to serve because I realized two things. Someone came to me and I wouldn't say need the person. I needed the person. And I'm not sure if people misunderstand or understand what I'm saying. I could always go and get a job, any sensible academia work. But I needed a done at that time to walk into my life. Because somewhere there my wires were going left.
Absolutely.
Right. I then in return realized, oh, I need to be okay, I get it now. Because me trying to, and that's what Don was trying to say, hey, you're going to have to not play music, you're going to have to make music. I was like, okay. So that's how I ended up at Jamis. And FYI for the crowd of people who don't know, I was ward engineer at Ward 21, who you know as Ward 21, Suku Conley, Rum, Blood and Mark. I was the engineer.
So,
We
Mr.
were all
Thomas,
kids running Jamis studio.
that's a beautiful thing, and that's a lot of history. Some will relate, some won't, and we got to dive into a little bit more detail. We have 12 minutes to go on this part 2, and there's gonna be a part 3 because we haven't even scratched the surface yet.
Telling you.
So,
And
ladies and gentlemen, we say welcome to you all, and also Mr. Vivian Thomas. He's giving you a lot of history and a lot of good things to take away from this. So you got to like, share, subscribe, comment, click the notification bell, share it, because you haven't heard the best yet. So the best is yet
trust
to
me.
come.
And even what they're seeing with even the billboards, that's just, again, with due respect, testimony to when I was explaining to people about being in entertainment. Because with due respect, it's a it's a good business. Yeah, you have to. It's not really for the it's for people who are interested in business and understanding the scaling of business, because the average person can't really just get up and afford a billboard just like that across a major city or on a major road. But that was the whole point I was bringing across to my people, that, hey, entertainment, as you call it, is so much multifaceted that you don't have to be that person singing on a stage. You could be the person who's marketing all out by the billboards. You could be that person that's on the TV reading the news. Nah, not the latest song, but reading a news. You could be. So I was trying to tell them that there are doors, but because there was no institution or anyone saying, hey, what doors are you talking about? Here comes a Vivian. I established, just to do a quick nutshell, and this is, I think, where people now will go, oh, that was you? In 2013, 2011, 2012, 2013, I established what was called Fused in Jamaica. Now, Fused was, I have a good friend, a good family friend, and they had a very good establishment. It was called Red Bones, Kingston's first jazz place, the Williams, Enola and them. So link Enola. I said, Enola, showed her my blueprint. Hey, I have this idea. I want to marry everything, because the problem is people trying to do music here and do it there, and they don't understand that it's all one thing. It's just music, and it's Jamaican music. How do we marry? And she was like your idea. Can you really put it together? I said, don't worry, I will, and I did. So when you Google now Fused, and people say, oh, so that reggae revival thing, when you see Dre Island and Richie Spice on stage for the first time, those are my shows. I was a person who put reggae intimately under the candlelight. And with respect, when I went to Red Bull and the powers that be to say, I want to make everybody sit at the table, uptown, downtown, and everybody, and put this thing, it was like, boy, if this goes left, you better jump on a plane and go back to where you coming from, because if one of them Rasta man you come and burn out any one of my people, them in the middle of you are what? I was like, what actually? No, it, so my one never will. And Fuse was it's the first successful lineage of exclusive intimate shows. Then I kept Dub Love, which now you have all of what's called Dub School up by Jackson. That's how I kicked it up. So now everybody know, now you know, yes. Yes. Very early. I was very early playing piano with Dre Island. I was very early, before y'all knew who the hell this kid was. I was very early chanting for Jamar McNaughton. I was very early with Janine Cunningham, aka Janine, writing poetry with her in my studio at home. So half of who no love now? Really? And just FYI for everybody who not remember, still me stay jammies and deuces like get to the point. So my hit catalog it's been blessed. But it started with the art journey. And I tell people, say, I hardly produce anymore, because I'm more produce out of love now versus anything else. My thing now is making sure, say, the original mission come full circle. My thing was always getting everybody else on going, because I thought it was easy for me to get myself on and I couldn't think of it like everybody else around me is talented. If you play keys, you need a drummer. If you play drums, you need a gitsy. If you play, so in my head, I was like, I think we all needed it. The micro universe says so. So just the ideology of us thinking that we don't need each other, just the ideology of us thinking that people are beneath or not worthy. These are the little things that bother me, because again, in my head and my universe, I go, nah, if we smile and we hug out, we send this positive thing out, it should come back. Yeah, man, screw who don't like that, man. We don't care about that. Thick skin to that, and let's move on. But
How do you see, you're pulling, you're attaching strings and you're pulling people up and you're pulling these teams together. And yet still you'll find that the question that you remember, that question you said you were talking about, by the nature of your question, I can tell you where you're going.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're pulling these people up, you're pulling them together. You have this idea and this picture in your mind, and you're pulling it together. And when you pull up, and then you're gonna you have to think about and gauge whether this person is in survival mode or is this person in love mode. You know what I mean? So you're distracted by trying to put that picture together.
you see,
So
when
now
you find
you find that there's a certain, and you don't know this until time has elapsed, that these people that you bring into this team or sphere, they sit there. So a lot of them sit there and they wait to be pulled up again. So how do you now view this from years ago? Because you're dropping some serious names, some serious
yeah.
achievements, and also interactions. How do you view it now? Is it easier now to kind of transition
This
the
is
people
where
out of survival mode, or
this
especially,
is
and we're talking about, hold on a second, we're talking about the industry, ladies and gentlemen. If you heard Mr. Vivian Thomas talk about it, there's so many facets, there's so many avenues of the business. It's wide, everything is interconnected and also dependent upon the other. It's like a domino effect. So therefore, he's talking about a huge picture, which does not end here, not in Jamaica,
rabbit
not in
hole.
the United States,
Rabbit
not in
hole.
Europe. So he's talking a huge picture here that you cannot see it all in one with the naked eye. How do you see it now, after so many years, and now that you have matured because you sought counsel?
Two
So
things I've definitely loved, and I have a love-hate with the internet, and I have a love-hate with AI and these things. I have a love-hate with tech. And this is and most people say yeah, I have a love-hate with tech. I still don't mind buying the newspaper. I don't mind. I don't mind certain things. So I want to pass these on as to how I decipher things, and as I get older. Again, these new semantics of words, I call it tribe.
So hold it right there, Mr. Thomas. That's for part 3. We're going to dive into that for part 3.
Tribe. Finding your tribe. Yeah, that's going to be the PIP3. Finding your tribe.
It's a pleasure. And for those who, you have to go back and look from the beginning, from the last podcast to this one. Listen carefully. It may not sound the way you want to hear it, or the way you understand right now. go back and listen to it because it's a series and there's a lot more to come, but you gotta be in tune with what's going on here.
It's PIP.
It's PIP. Prioritize, inform, and promote. Listen.
You see the information when you're getting it? See the I? PIP. But the I, you need to be there. Put that part into play.
Absolutely.
And that's the part that saves all of us.
Absolutely.
So, the part
Thank you so much again, Mr. Vivian
Appreciate
Thomas.
your time every day, Sir George. As a matter of fact, everybody, the whole family, PIP, Mondays, stay tuned, because next Monday we'll unravel our next part of the mystery. And again, if we start peeling back layers, you might hear some dancehall and reggae stories that you go, tell me that's not so. And then I can go, present, I was there.
One love.
Yeah.
Blessed love.
Have a blessed day. Have a blessed night.
Thank you, my brother. Big up to Mr. Vivian Thomas. And part 3 is coming, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much. It's a beautiful thing. So, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it from Sir Vivian Thomas. It's a big deal. And there's a lot more to come. And you got to stay tuned for part 3. You've not heard anything yet, ladies and gentlemen. But if you're listening, you'll start putting the pieces together. For those who are not in the city of Kingston or in that era, you're going to start putting the pieces together. So I want you to invite all your artists, business people, sound systems, recording artists. Join the show. Like, share, subscribe, comment, click the notification bell because there's a lot for you to learn about the big picture. This is PIP Mondays, ladies and gentlemen, and we say this is RAMP Promotions, the real deal podcast show. So, ladies and gentlemen, as for the rest of the show, we're gonna, let me go over the weekly program details because now we this is Monday, so we have PIP Mondays on Mondays where we prioritize, inform, and promote. Thursdays we call it Thursday Night Live, and that's a live call-in show to have a discussion about important topics that is in relation to read the description of the show. It has to be relevant and it has to be of high priority. We're not here in the business of shooting the breeze. No, ladies and gentlemen. And we got to keep it respectful. You know how the airwaves are. So whatever we say here remains in cyberspace forever and ever. So we got to be careful of our language and also our intent. Just remember that. Also, on Fridays, we call it Friday Fusion. Friday Fusion is where we fuse Passion Radio UK with DJ Asher D. Big up to DJ Asher D, by the way. DJ Asher D, who is my nephew, introduced me to Sir Vivian Thomas. And as the series continues, you're going to learn something extremely important because you do not underestimate Sir Vivian Thomas. Listen and share. Like, share, subscribe, comment, click the notification bell. Think about what I just said to you. All right. So on Fridays, we call it Friday Fusion, where we fuse the PassionRadioUK.com with DJ Asher D's show, which he calls a Traffic Jam show, where we now merge our audience with the UK audience. So this side of the hemisphere of the world with the other side of the hemisphere of the world, we're fusing both audiences through one medium. This is RAMP Promotions, the Real Deal podcast show. So we're improving our presence globally. So you want to be in this ride right now before the doors close. Ladies and gentlemen, so on a Saturday, we call it Saturday Night Vibes. It's where you let your hair down. And this is where DJ Latta comes in, and he spearheads that section. We tend not to talk a lot. So we promote some global events, some local Jamaican events, and also, we highlight things from the diaspora. Also, this is where you'll be surprised on a Saturday that maybe a radio disc jockey, a sound system disc jockey, an artist, or anywhere along those lines may come in and do something for you. So that's Saturday Night Vibe. So we keep it light. So you want to keep you got to like, share, subscribe, comment, click the notification bell so you know when we come on the show live. So coming up, we'll have a date for you soon about hot gossip, Dragon Force, and also you got to be patient a little bit more for the NARAMP UK family, which will be coming on to give you a lot of history. So, ladies and gentlemen, moving on from here, we have a few immigration information that we need to pass on to you. That's extremely important. And one of them is the 1,000 immigration parole fee. Okay, yeah, there's a 1,000 immigration parole fee. And we're going to, these are short videos, ladies and gentlemen, so you can live through it. So let's get Attorney Brad Bernstein to share that with you. And here we go. So let's bring that to the screen, and then we'll move on to the next video. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen.
When you get paroled into the United States now, you have to pay $1,000. And no, that's not a payment to your lawyer. That's a payment to the U.S. government under the new One Big Beautiful Bill. Now, there are exceptions. So here's who has to pay and here who doesn't have to pay. You got to pay $1,000 if you're entering on parole through Uniting for Ukraine, the Cuba, Nicaragua, Haiti, and Venezuela parole process, all family reunification parole programs, military parole in place. So if you entered without inspection and your family members in the military and you get parole in place to adjust, you got to pay $1,000 for that now. And anybody who gets paroled out of detention, they're held by immigration and now they parole you in, you got to pay $1,000 to get out of jail. People who apply for advanced parole on TPS and DACA, you got to pay $1,000 now to travel. People who apply for advanced parole based on adjustment of status, you're off the hook. You do not have to pay. Along with people being paroled in for a medical emergency or a funeral. They don't have to pay either. There is no hardship waivers, and this rule is in effect right now, and it's going to rise every year with inflation. Let me know what you think in the comments.
So you heard it, ladies and gentlemen. Things are getting much more serious here in the United States. So also we're going to talk about the new U.S. visa fees. I think I've touched on that before, but I want to touch on it again. It's extremely important that you listen, because this is not going anywhere. Things are going to get a lot worse before they get better. So you got to pay attention and listen. And here we go. So let's touch on that topic right now.
Hey, Immigration Fam, starting October 1, 2025, if you need a U.S. non-immigrant visa, such as a B1, B2, F1, H1B, that kind of stuff, you will need to pay dollars. And that will be on top of the regular visa cost. And it applies to each person. So if you have a family of 4, you're talking of $1,000 for the visa integrity fee. Well, the good news is technically it's refundable. It's refundable if you do not violate the terms of your visa, such as you don't overstay, you don't work illegally, and you leave on the time, or you properly extend your time. How exactly you're going to get the money back, we don't know, because the government hasn't said so, and there are no systems in place for now. When we know more, we'll let you know.
Absolutely, ladies and gentlemen. Please like, share, subscribe, comment, click the notification bell so you'll know when we know. You get what I'm saying? So it's extremely important that you share. But one thing is for sure, that the immigration landscape has gotten a lot worse. So you got to know what you're doing, and we're going to ask Attorney Mac Bean to explain that to you, because a lot of people don't understand what they're doing, and that's unfortunate. So we are going to have Attorney Mac Bean explain that to you right now about this landscape that we're facing here in the United States and also globally. It's no joke. So let's get that on the screen right here, so you can understand what we mean by difficulties. So here we go. So let's get that on our screen and let's go.
You've really got to know what you're doing with immigration today. Gone are the days when you can just say, okay, I'm going to file for my child, I'm going to file for my sibling, I'm going to file for my spouse and see what happens. I'm just going to file. You really have to know what you're doing, because the new trend that we're seeing at McBean Law is this, and you're coming to us with this problem. The problem is this: some of you are not eligible for adjustment of status. You're not eligible to stay here and get the green card here. It's reserved only for some people. Certain categories can stay here and get the green card here, but others cannot. And so the new trend that we're seeing is that USCIS is being more aggressive to place those individuals in removal, deportation proceedings. Why? Because no visa is yet available for that person who applied for adjustment of status. No visa is yet available. And so the government is denying these, not only denying the case, but placing them in deportation proceedings and tying them up further in court. It gets very costly. It doesn't matter which attorney you're dealing with or working with. It's very expensive to be in deportation, in removal proceedings, and have an attorney defend you. Avoid being placed in removal, friends. Avoid that mistake of filing that I-485 adjustment of status when you're not eligible for it. So be careful. Don't do it, guys, with the adjustment of status unless you're sure that a visa is available for you. If you're an immediate relative, it's fine, all things being equal, okay? It's not always a straightforward process, even for immediate relatives. But most immediate relatives are eligible to adjust their status. If you enter the United States without inspection and you're an immediate relative of a U.S. citizen, it won't work. You will not be eligible to stay here and get the green card. All right, so speak with an attorney if you enter the United States without inspection before you apply for adjustment of status. For others who are in the F1 category, F2, F3, F4, you're not eligible to adjust your status unless a visa is available for you, number one, and you had continuously maintained a lawful status in the United States, number two. So don't do that form. Don't file that particular form if you're not clear about this. Speak with an attorney first.
So you heard it, ladies and gentlemen. This is no joke. This is not joking around here. Know before you go. Speak to an immigration attorney. You speak to an immigration specialist. Also, USCIS is sending out letters of warning, and some of us are ignoring it. So I want you to be aware of the seriousness of the matter. And I'm going to touch on one more. I'm going to mention one more video after this. And then that video I'll show on Thursday. That's Thursday Night Live. So let's get Attorney Matt Bean to give you the scope on this. And here we go. So let's bring her on the screen now.
If you receive a NOID, which is a notice of intent to deny your case, take it very seriously. Immediately get legal help so that the attorney can look at the problems and figure out how to argue it for you in your favor. This is becoming more and more common, guys, and you have to act very quickly to overcome it. For those who cannot overcome it, they will deny the case and place some people in removal. If you've received a notice of intent to deny your case, that is something that we assist clients with nationwide. Friends, if you receive a...
So, ladies and gentlemen, if you receive a notice in the mail from USCIS, that's the U.S. Immigration, take it seriously. especially if it's a warning or annoyed. So we also want to touch on the new green card rules. I'm going to touch on that on Thursday. It's a longer video. I don't want to extend the show longer than I should tonight. So you got to like, share, subscribe, comment, click the notification bell, and know when we're coming on live, because you can share the show to those who need the information. It's extremely important that you share this information with others, because believe me, it's not an easy road moving forward. And a lot of people out there do not know what to do. And we're here to help them. So I want to do that as best as possible from my end. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to NARAM Promotions Real Deal Podcast Show. And this is PIP Mondays. So we're going to touch into some community events, and then we're going to close the show after that. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Let's dive into the events. So you know that Crazy Mondays is going on right now, ladies and gentlemen, right? There you go. Crazy Mondays is at Mel's Bar in Ian's Lawn. That's New Forest District in Manchester. Crazy Mondays, you know what I mean? Every Monday. Hats off to Mel and the crew. So you have Drake Cool, the mix master, DJ Sean, and Team British at Mel's Bar in Ian's Lawn right now. So if you're in that area, check it out. It's always great, good fun there. So we say hats off to Mel, and that's a beautiful thing. You know, the game of love play is at Blake's Complex, and that's a beautiful thing. So Sir Len Blake has a game of love on Saturday, this Saturday, in Downs District in Manchester, and this is going to be a beautiful thing. It's the Crossdales production. It's going to be absolutely hilarious, and it's a good look. You have private parking, a secure venue, and it's a beautiful complex. So check it out at Blake's Complex, Downs District in Manchester on Saturday, October 25th. You will not be disappointed, ladies and gentlemen. Also, we have Jerkut having Stush. Stush is October 25th, this Saturday. It's a big deal in Tampa, Florida. That's my cousin, and that's my cousin Andrew. You're going to be entertained by DJ Kirkisee, and also all the way from Jamaica, DJ Bambino. You know, if you know Bambino, you know what I'm talking about. It's going to be off the chain with DJ Kirkisee and DJ Bambino. It's going to be a good look. I told you, Jerk Hut is a lifestyle. You can't miss it this Saturday, October 25th in Tampa, Florida at the Jerk Hut. Be there, ladies and gentlemen. Also, on November 1st, they kick off on the anniversary for the whole month. And you're going to have Andrew's birthday bash at Jerk Hut, and it's going to be awesome. That's on November 1st. And also throughout the entire month of November, you will have the Jerk Hut come alive. So from October 25th, that's this Saturday, it kicks off with Stush, the biggest show in Florida for 2025. You got to check it out. And then the Jerk Hut has its anniversary kicking off on the 1st of November with Andrew's birthday. It's going to be a big deal, ladies and gentlemen. So also Sir Billings comes alive down there in Prospect District. And that's going to be a big deal down there. Let me get his poster up here. It was not lined up, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get it back up here. I think I lost it there. I took it out. Yeah, let's get back Sir Billings' poster up here. And let's get him in. Where's Sir Billings? Time is going. Here we go. Sir Billings has his birthday party on November 1st also. That's going to be a big deal at Top Rock in, let's see, that's good. Poster here. and I'm not finding it, but it's here somewhere. So, but if you know what I know, you got to be at Billings at Top Rock in Prospect District in Manchester, and I'm trying to find this poster. That's a shame. It's not here. So Billings, you got to send me another one. Goodness gracious me. Let's I don't want to move forward unless I find it. And Top Rock with Billings. Here we go. Yep. We found it, ladies and gentlemen. So this is birthday bash at Billings. This is called Billings Restaurant. Surprise guest. Food and drinks on sale. Top Rock Bar and Grill, Prospect Main Road, St. Elizabeth. It's going to be a big deal. I'm telling you. Also, we have the Caribbean Food Factory in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. That's going to be having their stage show with I Show Candy, Professor Nuts, Thriller U, Original Thriller, Eiley Dread, Jack Cotter, Errol Donkey, Melody, and Shalom. It's an all-white affair. It's at the Caribbean Food Factory, and it's going to be a big deal at 5311 Bolde, Maisonneuve in Quebec, Montreal. Check that out, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be a big deal. Also, we have Misha's big deal. That's Misha's Right Vibes 5th edition with Uptown Movement at Misha's Right Spot. You find it on Google in Sierra District in Manchester. Check it out. It's going to be a big deal. Big up to Misha on November 20th. Check it out. Misha's Right Vibes 5th edition. Check it out, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be a big deal. Big up to her. And Muma Sketel on December 6th. Ambition Over Hype annual party is going to be at Time Is Now Car Wash in Prospect District in Manchester. Check it out. Tic Tac Sound and DJ Splendid is going to take the day and night away. I'm telling you, this is always a big deal. Check her out. It's a big deal. So also, ladies and gentlemen, we have Cricket Lovely Cricket. Cricket Lovely Cricket in Santa Cruz at Stets. This is going to be a big deal. So you got to check it out. Let me get some of these posters off and show you what I'm talking about. And I'm sure Sir, what we call him, Sir Bowles at Bowles Oval is going to be, I'm sure he's going to get a piece of this. You know, he's going to get a piece of this. I'm almost sure of it. But that oval is absolutely gorgeous. But we're going to bring to you Cricket World Cup. That's going to be in Santa Cruz at Stets. Yeah, it's going to be at Stets. So let me get that on the screen here so you can see it. Here we go. We're going to put that on our screen. We're waiting for it to pop up. Here we go. There you go. So that's Friday, December 26th at Stets Stadium. That's St. Elizabeth Technical High School Stadium. You got to check it out, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be a big deal there in Santa Cruz, St. Elizabeth, South Central Jamaica. Cricket World Cup where yard beat foreign, or yard versus foreign. It's going to be a big deal. Also, you remember Randy and Otis? Let's get Randy and Otis business up here because we're gonna talk about them business right now. Randy and Otis, big deal. You know what I mean? They got a Boxing Day event going on right there at Mango Tree Bar in Turner Top District in Manchester. This is going to be a big deal with the Pt.2 crew. Ladies and gentlemen, you'll be entertained by DJ Fireblacks and Eagle Force, the nuclear sound. It's going to be the big bad Eagle Force. It's going to be there, Turner Top, Mango Tree Bar, Manchester. Randy and Otis, big up yourself. Blessings every time. It's going to be a big deal. But the biggest party of the century, let's get that on the screen. Let me not talk about it till I put it up here. Let's get it up here. The biggest party of South Central Jamaica, here it is. It's going to be called Cash Code. This is the biggest party for 2025 in South Central Jamaica. It's an annual event by Asher's Chetty. And at the Ashley family, they call it Cash Code Season 2. This is Friday, December 26th, Boxing Day. You'll be entertained by Shine Skull Movements, MC Marshall, and also Sean and DJ Junior at Mountain View Chill Spot in Sear District in Manchester. This is gonna be the biggest party in South Central Jamaica for 2025. You gotta be there, ladies and gentlemen. This is when yard meets broad. So the foreigner and the yardie are gonna mix and them are gonna mingle. You know what I mean? So this is gonna be a big, big deal. So check it out. Cash Code is gonna be off the chain. So you gotta check it out, ladies and gentlemen. Believe me, Shine Skull Movements, MC Marshall, Sean and DJ Junior, this is not gonna be normal. You see what I'm saying? It's a big deal. So when you're in South Central Jamaica, there's a few places you gotta visit. You know what I mean? Got a few places you gotta visit, right? My little daughter can tell you. You see her in her Jamaica colors? That's little Giovanna. She's getting ready. So there's a couple of places you gotta visit, ladies and gentlemen. And one of them is Top Rock Bar and Grill if you're in South Central Jamaica. Bowles Fish Stop and Cricket Oval. Misha's Right Spot in Sear District, Manchester. You gotta check those out. And she's on Google Maps. And you gotta also visit right here, which I'm gonna put on the screen right now. That is the Mystic Inn. You gotta check out the Mystic Inn when you're there. You won't be disappointed. Okay? So it's perched on a hill, so you don't have to worry about the flood rates. It's good. And it's all decked. So it has a lovely gazebo. And I'm telling you, they can be indoor or outdoor. Check it out, ladies and gentlemen. And also, if you need to have any catering done, just remember you can contact me. You know, call me on any of the numbers down below. So you can check it out. It's going to scroll down below. So the numbers are going to be there. So check us out, ladies and gentlemen. Naran Promotions, the Real Deal Podcast Show. And we say thank you for being here. And always pray when you're going out. Pray when you're coming in. And always remember, God is in control. We say thank you for being here and being a part of the show. Please like, share, subscribe, comment, and click the notification bell. As always, we say thank you so much. And God bless you all. And we'll see you at the next show. Blessings every time. Naran Promotions is at you.